But we're continuing to focus on this idea of grounding and some of the tools that help us to ground and some of the things that happen sometimes that are really a sign of not being grounded. And sometimes that would be anxiety or stress, or if you are someone who experiences panic attacks, then these are some signs of even things like panic attacks and maybe anxiety disorders, or things that are signs of a deeper ungrounded place. But the tools that we can use to actually kind of come back from some of that can be used whether you're having something even stronger like a panic attack, or if you're simply having a lot of stress and are unable to feel that connection. And our senses are a huge part of helping us ground. And I love this 5-step tuning into the senses that I sent on the email, but also posted on Facebook. This is something that was shown, or not shown to me, but suggested to me quite a few years ago. And it's something I come back to periodically. And it seems, as I think back, it seems that I come back to it about this time of year when I'm feeling less grounded and more up in the air. And so we're going to start off with this as our centering. So go ahead and make sure that your seat is quite comfortable. And if that means you need to sit up on something, please do. And because you're in your own space, if you want to speak these things out loud, you're welcome to. But otherwise, you can just think them. But instead of closing our eyes, we're going to keep our eyes open, because obviously a part of our senses would be our sight. So take a couple big breaths. And as you breathe, just let your gaze come to the ground. This is one of those really simple things that you can do to help yourself ground. But as you take those couple of breaths, start to allow yourself to be more aware of your surroundings. And now notice 5 things that you can see. And I like to give myself a couple of descriptions of each thing. For example, the dark brown color of the knots on the wood on my floor. Okay, so that's just an example. But 5 things. And notice those details about them. And as you notice the details about them, again, you can add voice to it and actually speak it, or you can just think it. And now after those 5 things that you can see, 4 things that you can touch. So notice what you feel. And if you need to move your hand to something, then you're welcome to. And now 3 things that you can hear. And I'll give you a little hint, because that sometimes gets tricky. But one of the things that you might hear is your own breath. And now 2 things that you can smell. We're starting to get a little bit more subtle in what we experience. And now 1 thing that you can taste. And again, subtle sometimes. Maybe that's the toothpaste from just brushing your teeth. Or maybe that's remnants from something you ate or drank. And now for a moment, hold all the sense experiences together. Notice what that means for you, because that might be a different experience every day. And just remember that this is a tool that you can use anytime you would like. And now go ahead and bring hands together at heart center. You can close your eyes now if you'd like to, or you can keep them open. And take a full breath, recognizing yourself in this space. And now releasing hands down, walk your hands forward, feeling the touch of your mat in front of you or the floor in front of you. And then from that feeling of that touch, maybe even the feeling of your legs connected wherever they are, move through a slow, thoughtful cat and cow. And as you tune into your body here, you're welcome to close your eyes to feel what's going on in your body for sensation. Inhaling to allow your belly to drop down and exhaling to round your back. And then inhale as you extend your heart forward, start to walk your way up to an upright position. And then bring left fingertips to connect on the floor beside you. And then reach up and over with your right arm. And as you take a couple big breaths here, noticing the sensation of what's present. Notice where you feel sensation. Maybe bring to mind some descriptive words regarding those sensations. Then inhale, rise all the way back up to a tall spine and take right fingertips to the floor, left arm up and over the ear. And again, take a moment here to begin to notice the sensations that are there. And even notice if they're different or the same as the previous side. And then maybe give yourself a descriptive word or two about those sensations. Inhale back up to center. And then walk your fingertips back. Maybe come down onto your palms. Press and expand, open through your heart space. And take a couple big breaths. Move a little through your hips here. Move shoulder blades a little closer together. And then come to a little stillness. And then gently rise back up, switch the cross of your legs, coming to the less comfortable cross for yourself. Shift your sitting bones. And then press hands into your upper thighs at your hip creases. And again, move a little bit through your hips. Give yourself the information of whatever is showing up in your body. Move shoulders up and back. And then walk your hands out to your knees. And from that place, a couple movements in the cat and cow that we did as we began to sit, allowing yourself to notice and be aware of what's there. And again, maybe it's different with your legs crossed in this other side. Maybe it's the same. But notice, allow yourself to be aware of the specific sensations where in your body. Then as you sit tall, left fingertips to the floor beside you, reach your right arm up and over your ear. And now this time, work your way as deeply out into the side stretch as your body is ready for. And take just a couple moments to move and shift around. Give a good press with your hand into the ground, expanding into your ribs on the right side. And then let a little stillness happen and notice for yourself what is there. Inhale, rise all the way back up to a tall spine. Right fingertips to the floor, left arm reaches up and over, and this time again, walk your way out a little ways if that's in your practice. And you can push and expand into the left ribs, move a little bit to begin with, and then let yourself come to stillness and notice. Inhale, come back into center. And then walk your hands forward and come into as deep a forward fold here as your body is ready for. And that might be setting your elbows up on something. And now move around a little bit in your body, giving yourself that chance to find more space. But then give yourself permission to settle and stop the movement. Big breath. And now work your way back with your hands coming upright. And one more time, hands behind to find that opening through the front body. You can be on fingertips or palms, but press, lift, and open for a moment. Shift and move. And then let the movement stop. Let yourself come to stillness and notice. And now rise all the way back up to your tall spine, and we'll come forward onto hands and knees. And first thing, settle hips back toward your heels into a child's pose. And as you do that little bit of shifting and movement to help yourself find more space, just recognize the purpose of it, but then allow yourself to stop. Allow yourself some stillness. The consistent fidget and that movement that we sometimes do is habitual. And sometimes it's a little mini fight, flight, freeze idea with the nervous system. So as you give yourself that permission for one more moment in time to be still, let your breath help you notice. And now rising back up to your hands and knees, press palms down, rotate elbow pits forward and push, expanding into the upper back. Tuck your toes under and lift hips up and back, downward facing dog pose. And take a few moments here to move. Shift and find that space. And now come to stillness in your down dog and take a deep breath and recognize for you what's showing up for sensation. And now walk your way forward, coming into your forward fold. Feel free to take feet wider here than hip distance if you would like, especially if you're feeling tight through hips, hamstrings, or low back. And now inhale, lengthen part way, long spine, send your sitting bones up and extend forward with your heart. Exhale and fold over your legs. And now for just another moment, feel free to shift and move. Find that extra space. And then come to stillness. Hands come to your hips. Press back on hips, lift up and open through your shoulders and rise all the way up to stand. And as you come to stand, you can bring your feet in a little bit more narrow here if you would like to, or you can keep them wide, that's okay too. But pause, look down at your feet. Again, that gaze down helps with the grounding. Lift and spread your toes and then root down with your toes. Turn your palms open and either keep your gaze down with eyes open, or close your eyes, either one. But notice that connection of your feet and the ground. Notice the reach through the fingertips. Notice the lift up and open through the heart space. Inhale, stretch up overhead. Exhale, bend knees to fold over your legs. Inhale, lengthen part way, long, long spine. Exhale and fold. And now planting fingertips, use blocks if you want. Step your right foot back into your lunge and center with your hips. Extend forward with your heart. Take a full big breath. Take a moment with your breath to shift a little bit and move. Letting hips move a little up and down. Maybe a little movement through your torso and your shoulders. And then come to stillness. Take a full breath. Inhale, step forward. Exhale, step your left foot back into your lunge. And pause again. Find that centering action with your hips. Lengthen your sides. And then move a little bit. Check things out and notice. Create even more space, especially through your spine. And then pause in some stillness for a full breath. Inhale, step forward, and exhale, step your right foot back into your lunge. Right knee comes down to the ground. Bring hands up to your hips to rise and center with your hips. And now as you push down into your hips, lift your ribs up higher, heart up higher, opening more through the front of you, but then engage your core. Low belly and ribs draw in. Inhale, shoulders up and back. Exhale, root down through any part of you that's touching the ground. So front foot, back knee and toes. Take another big inhale and lift your heart even higher. And exhale, as you draw in with your belly and low ribs, give yourself a chance to notice some stillness and the sensations that are there. And now hands come down onto whatever you're using for props. Rise up to the highest point and work your front leg towards straight. As you work your leg towards straight, you can shift and adjust where your heel is. Coming to this hamstring stretch that we know and love, our half monkey pose. Pull toes back and wrap your left hip back. Sitting bones lift. Keep a little micro bend or a bigger bend if you have a lot of sensation here. Take a big deep breath. As you breathe, especially when we get into things like the hamstrings, we have a tendency to do that fight, flight, freeze thing where we pulse and squirm and fidget. And then we also have a tendency to try to go to our happy place, to get out of where we are. But instead, can you stay with the sensations that are there? You notice specifically in your body where they are. Go ahead and bend into your front knee now and step back into a downward facing dog pose and take a full big breath. Take that first couple of moments to move a little bit to allow more space and length. And then notice in some stillness what's present for you. And now we're going to step right foot forward in between our hands. You might use blocks to help you get there. And we're going to bring the back knee down anyway. So you might use that to help you get there. But then bring hands up to your hips to rise up. And now center with your hips. And then as you lift up and open through your heart space, give your core a little tone. Lift up with your heart again. And now notice what's pressing into the ground and push more. Push so much with your toes, your back knee, your front heel, that maybe you elevate a little bit and take a big breath. And now releasing hands down to your blocks. Work your front leg towards straight. You can shift where your hands are so you have more of a stacked place for your wrists under your shoulders. You can adjust where your heel is and then pull back with your toes. Wrap back with your right hip, send sitting bones up. Take a full breath, and if it's comfortable for you right now, close your eyes and notice where the sensations are, and even very specifically where or what those sensations feel like. Staying with those sensations, take one more full breath. And now bend into your front knee, and we're stepping forward, coming into our forward fold. Inhale and lengthen part way. Exhale and fold over your legs. Hands to hips. Press back on hips, lift up and open through shoulders, and rise all the way up to stand. And now from standing, let's go ahead and find a balance. So balancing onto the left foot, right toes turn sideways so your knee can turn. And then give a little squeeze to your standing glute, a little bend to your left knee. And then as you push into the ground, start to lift your right foot up to wherever you need it to be in your tree. It can be up high above the knee, down below the knee, or keep a kickstand. All are possible. And now, as you open up with the knee and lift your heart up high, if you want to, you can go ahead and stretch. That has a tendency to affect the balance and the grounding feeling. But now maybe take your gaze down, push more into your standing foot. Think of your roots reaching down into the floor underneath your foot. As you do that, maybe lift up a little higher. And then notice for you what the sensations are. What is it that you're feeling as you balance here, specifically in the body? Take another full breath. And now exhale, hands come to your heart, foot comes back to the ground. And then pause for a moment, feeling both feet on the ground. And then find your balance onto your right foot, left toes turn sideways. And lift up and open through your heart. And then as you squeeze your glute and bend your knee, bring your foot wherever it needs to be for your tree pose. And this side might look different because we're not symmetrical. So now reach arms up, maybe take a gratitude place for your arms, maybe take hands to your hips or your heart. Find what that is for you and notice for yourself. What's going on in your body, in your mind right now? Exhaling, foot comes back to the ground. Hands come to your heart. And now inhale, stretch up. Exhale, bend knees, fold over your legs. And now plant hands and step back into your downward facing dog pose. And take a big breath for a moment, lifting hips. And now knees down, hips to heels, take a child's pose and take a big breath. And now gently press yourself up to your seat. And we're gonna come all the way down onto our back. And from your back, set feet on the ground and drop knees in together to touch. As you let your arms rest, even though your palms are facing up, let your arms get heavy against the ground. Let your feet be heavy. Let your hips be heavy. You can close your eyes if you would like to, or you can keep them open. But now take one last pose that might help you settle. And so with this, it might be a moving pose like a happy baby or windshield wipers. Or it might be more of a still pose like a bridge. Wherever that is, take a moment to bring awareness to the specific sensations. Even if you're moving, notice what's there. And now as you're ready to, you're going to shift your way into your Shavasana, finding that variation that helps you to find stillness, that helps you to find release. Begin to take a deeper breath. Add some gentle movement into fingers and into toes. As you're ready to bend your knees and roll over to your side. Let your hips stay heavy and grounded as you use your hands to help you rise up to your seat. One hand to your heart, the other hand fingertips to the ground if you would like. And as you take a couple breaths, just take a moment with your breath to notice yourself in this space. Have a very peaceful, beautiful rest of your day. Namaste. Thanks, everybody.